listen to me now.
Hey, this is your next door neighbor. Now, as you know, I'm about truth, okay? This is something atheists cannot explain. This is something atheists cannot explain. This is something science cannot explain. I've always said this everywhere I go. I've got to say this. If I tell you that something is going to happen, you don't have to believe me. But if I'm right, you want to listen, right? As I said in my previous video, the Bible has predictions for the future. So here's one that is really exciting. The Bible has a prophecy that dates all the way nearly 1,026 years later. I'm going to prove it to you. In the book of Daniel, Daniel 2, there was a king named Nebuchadnezzar. Now, I'm not going to tell you this. I want you to go online or check your phone, check your history, and ask who Nebuchadnezzar was, okay? Nebuchadnezzar was the king of a nation or a kingdom called Babylon. Now, Babylon ruled around 605 BC to 538 BC. Now, BC means before Christ. BCE says before Common Era, okay? All right, BC is before Christ, and that's what I'm going to be talking about, before Christ. So, Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. You ever had a dream and you can't remember what it is, but you remember a great feeling that you had when you had the dream? You remember laughing, but you didn't want to wake up, but now you wake up and you cannot remember the full dream? This was Nebuchadnezzar. He could not remember the dream that he had. So he got to all of his advisors and told them to tell him what the dream was. Because he was a god, they had to do what he said. Tell me what the dream was. Now, here's the thing. The people that he had consulting were not just regular people. These people were astrologers. These people were sorcerers. Now, sorcerer, let me just tell you, sorcerer in Hebrew is pharmakia. So I want you to think of what pharmakia sounds like. Pharmacist, druggist. These are all people that's into science. Science is knowledge, systematic knowledge derived from observable study. These people studied astrology. They studied drugs and sorcery. There were magicians. Magicians had their own way of doing things. There were people involved in witchcraft. And there were people that were Chaldeans. These people were considered very wise people. So Nebuchadnezzar had the best of counseling. And it just so happened that when they took over the Hebrew nations, when they took captives, they took the princes, they took the smartest people that were versed in science. So this is people that had knowledge. So that's why we have the book of Daniel. Daniel was one of those very educated, smart people versed in science. So let's continue with the dream. So this man has a dream. So Nebuchadnezzar has a dream, right? And he says, tell me what the dream was. Now the Chaldeans, astrologers, all the people said, okay, they said, yes, we'll tell you what the dream means. Tell us what the dream was, and then we can go ahead and tell you the interpretation of it. King says, I do not remember the dream. I want you to tell me what the dream was, and additionally, I want you to tell me what it means. And if you do, I'm going to give you power. I'm going to give you a high position. I'm going to give you a lot of money, a lot of riches. Make sure you tell me this. Now, you know, everybody wanted to jump on that. But the issue was they didn't know what the dream was. You see, these people had connections with the spirits. So and these people were versed in science. They were supposed to be able to contact the spirits and tell him what the dream was. That is what Nebuchadnezzar expected. Okay? They explained to him, nobody can give you what you're asking for. Nebuchadnezzar pretty much told them, if you don't tell me what my dream was, I already know that you guys are full of crap. Okay? He didn't say it that way. He said, I already know that you guys are, let's just say, fake. Okay? But let me just tell you right now, if you don't tell me what my dream is, I'm going to kill you, your family. I'm going to wipe you out of existence. And not just you, all of you guys are going down. Well, they didn't know what the dream was. They couldn't tell what it was. And again, these people said, what you're asking for is impossible. So he made an appointment to kill all of them. Daniel, which was one of the princes that was taken captive and had the privilege of being in the council, found out that he was about to die. Daniel was saying, wait a minute, what am I going to die for? Oh, King, give me a few moments. You don't have to kill me, okay? Or you don't have to kill anybody. Just give me some time. I don't know what the dream was, but there is someone that can tell you the dream, and that's God. So Daniel went ahead to his friends, which was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were also princes, Hebrew princes that were taken captive and were considered one of the wise people. And he consulted with them, and they fasted and prayed, and they received an answer about the dream. So Daniel now goes to the king and says, "Oh, king, I just want you to know, first of all, I cannot tell you the dream or the interpretation, but there is a God who understands all things, who has control over the beginning and the end, future and the past, who can tell you the meaning of this dream." So here's the dream, and this is the exciting part. I'm telling you, this is good.
Listen to me now.